Yeah, you're welcome, everyone. Welcome to this live broadcast, the live interview, live telecast between our Prime Minister, Biafra Republic Government in Exile, and the leader of the Ambazonia Liberation of War, Dr. Cho Ayaba. Please hook up, share this program, make sure everyone is watching, because tonight is going to be a night to remember. Please make sure you are watching, share it to every WhatsApp group, every channel. Together, we are changing the narrative and we are changing history. Thank you for joining us. This is the media team of the Biafra Republic Government in Exile. Should I begin from the top very quickly? As you go, please quickly greet Biafrans in a few seconds, please.
All right, Biafrans, I greet every one of you. Good evening. Today is a remarkable day. A history will be made. Today, I beg you, do not miss any second of this event this day. I encourage you to sit down, listen, get your pen, get your paper. Thank you so much, Mazaraf.
Thank you, my beloved comrade. God bless you. I am giving the mic to 555 Vision. 555 Vision, please. Greet Biafrans very quickly. In a jiffy, please.
Yes, thank you, Biafrans. I greet you all. Today is a great day. A history is made because the Ambazonia and the Biafran people, they have long-time history. Since the creation of this earth, Ambazonia and the Biafra has been one, and today it will become a marvelous history. Thank you all. Thank you, my members, media team, Vam, and everybody. Thank you. We love you all.
Thank you for joining me. 555 Vision, please. To Survival, are you there? Please take the microphone, please.
Hello, dear friends. I appreciate everyone that is listening, wherever you're listening from. I say, may Chukwu Okukabia guide and protect every one of you. And I appreciate every member of the media that is here waiting. Welcome all of you to another outstanding day to cement our strength and also to make sure that Biafrans are at the right path. Once again, a day of encouragement. Every one of us should get our seats and tighten up your seat belt. Listen carefully to every single information that is coming out. It is for your own good. Thank you so much for coming. See you.
Thank you, Chuk Survival. Dotline Media, are you there? Are you in a position to, or Dotline Media is gone? Who else is there? Mazi Swani, please, are you there? My able minister, are you there? Okay.
I salute all of us. They go to all Biafrans. Sit tight and join the history-making day of the Ambazonia and the Biafran leaders press briefing. Thank you.
Thank you, my able information minister, the capable and awesome minister of the Biafra Republic Government in Exile. Dotland, are you able to talk, please? Are you able? No, Dotland is not able. Please, everybody should mute while we wait for the program to go live.
The commander of this revolution to let you know that we will defeat Cameroon. We will not only defeat Cameroon, we will make it impossible for Cameroon again to ever invade our land.
Because this is the appointed generation. And we are going to see Biafra.
Ladies and gentlemen, citizens of Biafra and Ambazonia, you are watching the Ambazonia Communications Network, ACN. At this very moment, we are pleased to welcome you all to the Biafra Ambazonia press briefing. Today is Tuesday, December 19th, 2023. To begin the program, we now welcome the spokesman of the Ambazonia Governing Council, Mr. Lucas Asu.
Good evening, the great people of Biafra, great people of Ambazonia. Today is a historic day for our people. It's a day when the leaders of Biafra and Ambazonia come together to deepen and cement the relationship between our two nations. Today, it's a day where, as one people, we stand here to declare our intentions and proclaim the destiny of not only the Ambazonian people, but for the Biafran people, to make sure the people of Biafra and the people of Ambazonia secure their freedom, their sovereignty, and build prosperity and a happy homeland for our people. I now introduce you to my co-moderator, Dr. Joy Irobi. Good evening, Dr. Irobi.
Yes. Good evening, great Biafrans and Ambazonians. Good evening, our viewers, and welcome to this historic event. It's really going to be a great day, so I hope everyone is ready. Please sit back, have your pen and paper ready to jot down, because it's a day that you will not want to miss. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Irobi. Ms. Irobi, would you please kindly introduce the Prime Minister of the Biafran people?
Yes, thank you. Now, before I introduce our great leader, I would like to introduce myself briefly. My name is Dr. Joy Irobi, the contact person for the Biafran Ambazonian Alliance. Now, today, we are bringing to you a historic press briefing of our two great leaders. Now, there is nothing more precious in life than freedom. And our freedom, as we have already heard, is in our hands. On that note, we present to you these two great leaders who have defied everything the corrupt terrorist African leaders have brought upon indigenous people. May I use this opportunity to bring to the studio our Biafran leader, the man who has defied all terrorist activities of the Nigerian government. Just like our Onyendu Mazi Nnamdi Okwu Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, the man who has made it possible for us today to be very resilient and very brave and consistently request the liberation and the freedom of the people of Biafra. Let us all welcome Prime Minister of the Biafra Republic government in exile and de facto government in the homeland, His Excellency, the Ambassador of Peace, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Biafra, Mazi Simon Ekpa, the Obatobie of Biafra. His Excellency, you are welcome.
Dr. Irobi, the liaison officer of the Biafra Ambazonia Alliance. Thank you, our brother Lucas from the Ambazonia side. Biafra people, good evening from here. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, today is going to be yet another historic day in our pursuit for freedom. I want to assure every Biafran, anywhere you are in the world, to understand that the Biafra government is working assiduously to make sure that we seal every loophole that Nigeria have used against us during the war of genocide against Biafra between 67 and 70. Today, to continue to show our readiness, to continue to show our resilience, to continue to show to the world and to the terrorist Nigeria and Cameroon that the Biafra Ambazonia Alliance is unbreakable. We will continue to demonstrate that our bond has come to stay. And this evening, we will be discussing a series of issues, especially both on economic and on security between Ambazonia and Biafra. So I welcome all of you this evening to listen to what we have to offer for the protection of our people, our women and children, and especially the territorial integrity of the both nations. So I welcome you all this evening to this wonderful and historic briefing between Biafra and Ambazonia. Good evening from here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the Prime Minister of the Biafran people. I would now like to introduce you to the leader of the Ambazonian people, the man who has given the Ambazonian people the hope that has been missing since 1961. The man that has given the Ambazonian people the courage, the strength, the bravery, and above all, to restore the dignity of the Ambazonian people. Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba is not only the leader of the Ambazonian liberation, he is also the commander-in-chief of our liberation army, the Ambazonia Defense Forces. Through his actions, his foresight, his vision, and his strategy, we have been able to rekindle the spirit of freedom and to usher in a new era of self-determination, a new era to secure our sovereignty and protect the dignity and the lives of the Ambazonian people. We now welcome to the studio the leader of the Ambazonian people, Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba.
Thank you very much, Mr. Spokesman. Thank you, Dr. Joy, the liaison officer for the Ambazonia Biafra Alliance. Welcome, my friend, my brother, the Prime Minister of the government in exile. This press briefing is a notification that we are sending to Abuja and Yaoundé and to all other alliances designed to emasculate our people exploit our resources and bring carnage into our homeland. That we have risen and we will match them ideal for ideal and method for method. Let me use this opportunity to send best wishes to all Biafrans, wherever you may be, to all Ambazonians, wherever you may be, and to assure you of our devotion to establish on the face of this earth a free Ambazonia and free Biafra, so that both nations can establish an economic free zone and political systems that serve the interests of our countries. So we'll be covering a series of issues tonight. We are working behind seriously, and I will also be announcing the appointment of the team that will be in charge of the Ambazonia Biafra Alliance. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Leader of Liberation, Dr. Joy. Would you please kindly call for the anthem of both nations?
Now is the time for us to hear the anthems. The national anthem for Biafra and Ambazonia nations. Thank you.
Citizens of Ambazonia and Biafra, the national anthem of Ambazonia.
Hail this land of glory, we the Ambazonia, there's a loyalty. Praise the our Savior who granted us the freedom, and led to the hero who goes along with Yahweh. Glory to glory, we rise and never to fall. Here in a nation, flowing with us and holy. Glory, glory, glory to the Father, for making you a nation, a joy forevermore. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty in our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God be the watchman of this nation. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty in our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God be the watchman of this nation.
Ladies and gentlemen, citizens of Biafra and Ambazonia, the national anthem of the indigenous people of Biafra. Ladies and gentlemen, citizens of Ambazonia.
We now present to you would you continue?
Mr. Spokesman and Dr. Joy, we are waiting on you people.
And also, we would like to present to come to start the press briefing, the great leader of the Ambazonia, Dr. Charles Ayaba. His Excellency, you're welcome. Now we can start. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Joy. Mr. Prime Minister, you are highly welcome, and I'm very grateful that we have the opportunity to brief our people and the international community today on a series of issues. It's a solemn moment for our both peoples, especially when we look at the carnage that we are experiencing across the globe in terms of wars of attrition, environmental degradation, corruption that endangers the lives of millions of our people, and a near total collapse of our economies. And people have asked the question about the importance of the Ambazonia Biafra alliance. I have taken time to explain the strategic relevance of this alliance and the long-term benefit that it will bring to both the people of Ambazonia and the people of Biafra. In Nigeria, in the northern axis, there is a strong bond with Niger. The Yorubas have a very strong bond with Benin. Biafra is left alone within a socio-economic and political space that has stigmatized Biafrans for being Biafrans, for their ingenuity and their creativity. So when the Biafran looks to the north, there is no friend. They look elsewhere, there is no friend. And the friendship with Ambazonia is not simply a matter of geography. It's also a matter of both historical and economic coexistence. The British administered Ambazonia as part of the Eastern House of Assembly. And in 1953, Ambazonia declared what we call the benevolent existence. And in the same year, in London, asked to be separated from the Eastern House of Assembly. That happened. 1954, there was an election in Ambazonia, and Dr. E.M. Endele was elected as the Prime Minister and took office on the 1st of October. When Ambazonia moved out of the Eastern House of Assembly, there was no gunshot. There was no genocide. There was no attack on the existence of Ambazonia. There was no attempt to burn down our villages. There was no attempt to commit massacres, to murder our people. We established the first democratic government within the continent of Africa through a free and fair election. During that coexistence and slightly beyond, Ambazonia had 3 international airports, 2 functional seaports, strong economy, vibrant civil society, intellectuals who could articulate the dreams of our people without psychological torture. You need another example in comparison to determine why this alliance is important. Just a whisper from Ambazonian students for an educational system that reflects a socioeconomic and political reality. They are murdered. Just simple demonstrations for the right to freedom of assembly, freedom of speech. People are kidnapped, renditioned, incarcerated, detained under inhuman and degrading conditions. The airports became runways for military jets that brought in ammunition for villages to be burnt. The seaports that existed were shut down for seaports within Cameroon. Ambazonian economy totally collapsed. Educational system asphyxiated. Lawyers and teachers harassed, tortured, kidnapped, and hunted like game. This is the price we pay as Ambazonians under Cameroon's occupation. Thousands and thousands of our people live in squalor without hope. The only hope is the exit. On the other hand, thousands of Biafrans live in our homeland. They've established businesses. They've created opportunities for Ambazonians. They've reinvested the profit they have made in Ambazonia, building homes, expanding their businesses, creating a vibrant trade route between Igu and Boya. This has benefited our people immensely. Intermarriages between Biafrans and Ambazonians. The Biafrans who live in our homeland live with us. There is no hierarchy. You compare with Cameroonians who've hijacked a city like Victoria, the only refinery that exists, they've hijacked it. They live in exclusive quarters. They use deals and SDOs to acquire our lands, disenfranchise our people, then bring in the gendarmes, the thugs called the bees, to murder our people. You still want to know why this alliance is important? It is important because in our weakest moment, Biafra has hosted hundreds of thousands of our people. Our refugees have found a place to call home. Thousands of our people have taken refuge in Biafra land. If you need to know why this alliance is important, it cuts across beyond Ambazonia and Biafra. We are setting an example for the continent that the archaic configuration designed in Berlin with artificial borders imposed will be dismantled to ensure that nations are able to emerge, establish political institutions over their nations that ensure that their resources are exploited for the benefit of their people, that will build vibrant civil society, create opportunities, harness the intelligence of our people for the benefit of our people and beyond. And that presidents and rulers will not rise to power through corrupt elections, through the support of corporations that exploit our resources, create environmental degradation to the advantage of foreign corporations, to the advantage of distant citizens, when you cannot, within Biafra, find a hospital where you can have medical care free of charge, where you cannot have an exemplary educational institution that educate the Biafran and the Ambazonians to prepare them for the future, that will live like pigs, will live like animals, will live like we are in a concentration camps, lorded over by invaders who've used our resources to arm themselves to the teeth to murder our people, and then go around kidnap leaders, rendition them, lock them up. They expect us to continue to sing Kumbaya. We will buy rifles, we will arm ourselves, and we will build a strong force within the continent that will put an end to the tyranny of a minority supported by Western superpowers. This alliance is important for me as the leader of the Ambazonian people. And I know that it is important for the Biafran people. I know both nations have been stigmatized. We have been attacked as Biafrans, like people without dignity. The Biafrans have been derided, their integrity attacked. If you look at their contribution to the GDP of Nigeria, you would expect Nigeria to reciprocate with respect and development. I know we will continue to do great things. We will build the longest highway from Enugu to Boya. We would ensure that you can live in Enugu and work in Boya. We will make sure that in both nations, if you live in Ambazonia, you cross into Biafra, you can have free medical care. And that when you raise your passport as an Ambazonian or a Biafran, you are given a military salute, not only for the sacrifices that we make to establish these both countries, but to undermine the tyranny that has deprived millions of people within our continent from pursuing life in freedom and liberty. I pass over to the Prime Minister.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the President of the Governing Council of Ambazonia, Dr. Cho. Thank you for that well elaborated reasons why this alliance between our both countries are very, very important and very imperative, especially at this point. I want everyone to understand that as a Biafran, you can never attain your potential anywhere in the world. It does not matter what you are today, where you reside. It does not matter what you are in your country of residence. You can never attain your potential. I want you to understand that the alliance between Biafra and Ambazonia is to make sure we use every mechanism and measures possibly available to us to restore and liberate our nation so that you can come back from wherever you are residing, every part of the world, to develop yourself and join building one of the best countries in Africa. And there you are going to attain your potential and challenge that it comes with. You will attain your potential in the Biafra nation and at the same time compete among the best in the world. Today, we have seen, after decades of subjugation, the role of the British in this particular subjugation that Biafra has found themselves today within Nigeria. From the 1914 amalgamation, we were not informed about the type of company that later become a country today known as Nigeria. Those who agitated for Nigeria to become a Nigeria, as you see today, were not murdered, they were not imprisoned, they were not killed because of one single reason: the economic interest of the United Kingdom. They made sure that they design Nigeria in a way that it powers and empowers their economic interests. And those who agitated for the freedom of Nigeria, for the independence of Nigeria, were all welcome, even in London. They served them tea, they served them dinner, they embraced them, and they called them heroes. 60 years later, we see no progress. All we see is debt upon debt. All we see is backwardness. All we see is eradication of innovation and supporting Sunai. Those who say that innovation are evil or innovation is evil, they hijacked the power as designed by the United Kingdom. After the country that was forcefully joined together and called it secular state has become Islamic nation by the same British. I want everyone to understand that it is time we are now pushed to the wall and we are pushing back. The same Britain arrested, prosecuted those who attempted to kidnap somebody called Umaru Diko. The late Buhari was then the military head of state of Nigeria by force through a coup. He sent people to United Kingdom to kidnap and rendition somebody called Umaru Diko. Those who tried to kidnap him succeeded in kidnapping him, but they did not succeed in renditioning him back to Nigeria. So it was an attempted kidnap and rendition to Nigeria. Those people who committed the crime of attempting to rendition somebody to Nigeria were all arrested and sentenced to prison by the United Kingdom. Today, after over 30 years, Umaru case repeating in more troublesome, disheartening, and the most unacceptable way. And the British turn their eyes on Umaru II. And I want you to understand, it is not because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped from Kenya. No, could have been anywhere. The reason was because his name is Nnamdi. His name is not Umaru or Diko. That is the only reason why he is still being in dungeon, detained today, and Britain is enjoying it because his name is Nnamdi, not Muhammad, not Umaru, not Diko. Otherwise, tell me, Umaru Diko was not a British citizen. He did not come to the United Kingdom with British passport, but he was protected on attempted kidnap. Those who tried to kidnap him was arrested and sentenced to prison. Till today, we have not seen anything reasonable from the British government because the person in question this time is not Umaru, but Nnamdi. Is Okechukwu. Anything Chukwu, anything Nnamdi to Britain, you must make sure they never rise. Why I am making this particular speech for a start is so that those of you who think that you have mentors in the United Kingdom should start thinking again. The generation that I am very proud of will be the one to end the colonization from the British right in Biafra land. The British government has brought death to us. They have not brought any civilization. There is no development. It's only death, suffering, corruption, criminality, and what have you. And we thank God that today, many of us are residing in more civilized and sane country in Europe. Britain could not cope with decent countries like the European Union. Because for you to be a member of the European Union, you have a standard. Britain is a very corrupt country. They couldn't cope with the standard of the European Union. They left without nobody shooting gun. Today, the Biafrans are building alliances, and Ambazonia is one of them, in order to make sure that we set example from Africa. And that example, the beginning of civilization, will start from Biafra. Ambazonia has a very important role to play. Every Biafra must understand that during the war, which Britain, the same Britain, supported Nigeria to commit genocide against Biafra people, of where we lost almost 3 million children to hunger, starvation. The people that facilitated that particular hunger and blockade was Cameroon. Nigeria used Cameroon to facilitate the blockade of Biafra. And in facilitating the blockade of Biafra, Ambazonia and Biafra border were used. So this alliance between Biafra and Ambazonia is very, very important for us, for everybody to understand. With this alliance, we have defeated Cameroon's second blockade. We have made friends with Ambazonia for easy access, especially of weapons when the time comes, and every other thing that we have, we use Ambazonia as a passage to make sure that whatever that comes into Biafra will also be channeled to protecting the both territory, especially in the borderline, because Cameroon keep coming there with their terrorists in uniform. During the war, our people died out of hunger, not by bullet, not by bomb, And today, my fellow Biafrans, we have defeated Nigeria in that aspect. They will never ever rise again to put a blockade on Biafra. We now have a neighboring country called Ambazonia. And we are going to support Ambazonia with everything in us. At the same time, using the resources available to engage Nigeria. I want you people to understand that we are not just saying this thing to please you, but the actions is already on ground. You can hear on daily basis what we are doing in Bakassi Peninsula. It is as a result of the alliance between us. We will make sure that any terrorist from Cameroon into any territory in Ambazonia, the Biafra forces will attack in defense of the Ambazonia alliance and Ambazonia people. It is the price we pay for each other. So today, Nigeria will no longer have access to Ambazonia border to use it against Biafra. In addition to this, we are going to work closely on military and other security architectures, including the economy of both nations, to make sure that whatever we do is for the best interest of the people. The United Kingdom continue to be the devil advocate. But I want to assure you today that the camel back is broken. We have seen recently the way they are running from pillar to pole, telling us they have defense advisor to Nigeria, telling us that Unilever, which is the company called Nigeria, is doing this and doing that. We've also seen how they are running helter-skelter because they understand that there is a new sheriff. And I am not a political pressure group. They have come to understand that Biafra have formed a government in exile. They have come to understand that Biafra government in exile is not just a political group like others. We have also formed Biafra Liberation Army. We have formed Biafra Resistance Fighters. We have formed Biafra Navy. We have formed Biafra Air Force. And all these forces are well armed to the teeth with the best and most sophisticated weapon to defend our land. But fellow Biafra people, we are surrounded by enemies. Enemies from the north that come all the way from Sahel down to the eastern part of Nigeria. They have no business there. They are not renting our houses. They are not renting our forests. They come by force with AK-47 to kill and despise us. They come to kill our women and children and put them to IDP camp. They come to destabilize our region. They come to change the demography. But today, we have risen up to say enough is enough. And Britain interest can never stand in Biafra land. We will fight this particular time and this particular freedom to a conclusive end. And we are going to do this and succeed with Ambazonia. Immediately, Biafra declaration, Ambazonia will have the effect of Biafra alliance, more than what they are seeing today. So my fellow Biafra and Ambazonia, I thank you all for believing in us and understanding the importance of this particular alliance. In our both nation, we understand we have some political pressure groups who are looking for favor from the oppressors. And most of these people come with a lot of distraction, a lot of propaganda, and we are dealing with them also in Biafra, the same way you are dealing with them in Ambazonia. But I want to appeal to all of you to understand that we don't have time for distractors. However they come, whichever magnitude they come, always ignore them, except when necessary. You can bring your 2 minutes to address your nonsense. But now, going forward, we must focus on arms, collaboration, intelligence sharing, and arms, making sure that our both borders are sealed, and any day the enemy and the vendors come close to the border, they will go back in body bags. That should be our main target going forward. Our alliance is not just going to be on the papers or in the newspapers. It must be followed with actions as we have seen it so far. And I am very, very happy to work with the Ambazonia Governing Council, the people that know what freedom is all about. So, Dr. Cho Ayaba, I thank you this evening as we are going to go line by line on the alliance of Biafra and Amazonia and what we are expecting. Of course, most of the important information will not be shared here. It is only what people will be seeing in the action field, in the field. We are not in the era of talk, but in the era of action. I've always told my Biafra people that this is not the time for me to make broadcasts. I've stopped that. I've come to address them when necessary. It is time for action to engage our enemy without distraction, to make sure that we delegitimize Nigeria and then also delegitimize Cameroon whenever they come close to our border, especially whenever they come close to those areas that we see that are Ambazonia interest. We are going to delegitimize and we continue to delegitimize them with every resources available to us. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Peter. One of the instrument that both enemies have used is the kidnapping of our people and passing them through kangaroo courts and using them as political prisoners and tools for their occupation. And we have seen this both in Biafra and Ambazonia. I wish we had established this alliance a few years back when Ambazonians were kidnapped from Biafra and from Nigeria and subjected to torture and then rendition to Cameroon, where they have been in detention for more than 6 years. We are also aware that a few years ago in Kenya, and you've put it well, that if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's name was Umaru, he wouldn't have been kidnapped. Worse still, those who kidnapped him would have been tried. But we observe that even before he was kidnapped, he had been put under house arrest and his home attacked, many people killed, and then later on he was kidnapped from Kenya. We have spoken before on the role Kenya continues to play in these abductions. A few years back, the leader of the Kurdish people was also kidnapped from Kenya and rendition to Turkey. And we have seen the role that Kenya has played and the role that Nigeria has played in collaboration with Yaoundé to make sure that Amazonians are kidnapped, subjected to torture. This alliance wants to make the fate of our political prisoners one of its priority. We will be designing international campaigns. We will be using other means to bring pressure to bear on both Cameroon and Nigeria to ensure that our prisoners are let go. We will not count on the archaic legal systems of both countries to adjudicate the fate of our people. And if continuous detention of our people is important to both Cameroon and Nigeria, they must also understand we will not be able to guarantee the security of their own citizens in our own land. And so we want to use this briefing to assure our prisoners, wherever you may be, that your faith, your security, your liberty is at the top of our agenda in ensuring that you do not only trade places with your kidnappers, but making sure that you return home in a freed homeland and to make sure your sacrifices have not gone in vain. So Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and all Ambazonian prisoners, the Benjis, the KPs, and all the others, the Abdul Karims, the Palmfors and the Tassangs, the Ayuks, we want to let you know that we will make 2024 a year our enemies will never forget as far as our people being detained is concerned. We will not be party to your courts, your justice system, your legal systems, and all the shenanigans that you continue to use to make a mockery of law. So this is another area of focus that this alliance will deal with. I will move to the next, and then I'll let the Prime Minister take both at the same time. The next, which is of importance to Ambazonian refugees. We have hundreds of thousands of our people taking refuge in Biafra. And I have notified the Prime Minister of the circumstances under which they live. They are being harassed by Nigerian police. They are being extorted. They are being under pressure. And I hope that we will work out a way to ensure that, one, the Biafran government in exile can help mobilize support for Ambazonian refugees, and to appeal to Biafrans in Biafra and beyond to continuously extend their generosity in hospitality and all forms of support to Ambazonians who live under difficult circumstances in Biafra land. We will not forget anyone. The reason we fight is for our people to establish conditions under which they can live in dignity. And I know this alliance is going to work out a mechanism through which we prepare long term. Between 1967 to 1970, 3 million Biafrans died, majority of whom died because of deliberate starvation. We know that these enemies will go to every length to make sure that they impose pain on our people to cause them to surrender. So we will work to establish refugee agencies that can help cater for our people, that we don't rely on our enemies to take care for our own people who have escaped their own brutality. So this is a long-term plan, and we will be working seriously to make sure that we adopt a long-term approach on both issues of refugees and political prisoners. Over to you, Mr. Prime Minister.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Dr. Cho Ayaba. Yes, what you have outlined here is actually, some of the things that policies that Biafra we have been pondering on, and we have those policies in mind. I would take it from the refugee perspective and the refugee issues. Uh, most of the problem happening in those areas where we have the Amazonia refugees, especially the extortion from the Nigeria terrorist police, the harassment is something that Biafrans are facing almost on daily basis, including the indigenous people in Nigeria. Most of those police officers are criminals. Most of them are the repentant Boko Haram terrorists, and they push them to the eastern region of which is Biafra area. So we are tackling them. And the one thing I have to promise to the promise that the Biafra people are making to Ambazonia today is that the delegitimization of this Nigeria terrorist police is ongoing on top speed, and they are not going to stop extorting the people. They are not going to stop extorting Ambazonians and Biafrans. They will continue to do that because that is exactly what they are known for. They are not real police. They are not to protect, the citizens. They are not to protect human life. They are not to protect women and children. They are all there for criminality. And as you all can know, that Nigeria is now ranked number 2 in organized crime. It's a country where police is the chief, gang leader of many criminal groups. Most of the police, where you see a president running a drug cartel before becoming a president, you can understand the level of impunity there. So it's something that we are dealing with. We'll continue to deal with them. But the approach the Biafra has taken so far is to make sure that those police, or of course, we don't need to call them police, but those terrorists in police uniform will not be allowed to carry gun in Biafra territory. So we've declared, anybody carrying gun, using gun under Nigeria, a terrorist person, and you will be treated as a terrorist. And while in our own treatment as a terrorist, we don't take you to court. We do not have law court yet. We take you to God for God to judge you. So anybody that is wearing police and carrying gun is not welcome in Biafra territory. So that particular, measure and policy is also going to start very soon in the areas where we have the Ambazonians refugees. So, and this issue of extortion and harassment will be put to rest because we've been able to, address the issue of extortion and harassment within the hinterland of Biafra. Most of the area there. We are still fighting to make sure that there is no checkpoint where they kidnap our people, our young men and women, and and they force their disappearance. So we are going to make sure that this particular harassment on refugees in our land is well addressed. And the issue of the political prisoners, everybody should understand by now that we do not validate Nigeria court, and I believe it is the same thing with the Ambazonians and the Cameroon court. So we do not validate Nigeria court. Nigeria court is where elephant flies. So, and nobody will believe Biafra, and you go and start hoping on Nigeria court and trying to validate Nigeria court. We don't validate it. We don't believe in it. We are not expecting anything from the court. So, what the approach we have applied so far is make sure that we impose sanctions on Nigeria Islamic State. The sanctions are from making sure we delegitimize the government from the governors down to the lowest. And then we are going to start in 2024 making sure that the Nigeria interest within Biafra territory will be attacked like never before. Every interest of Nigeria within Biafra territory, we will make sure we attack it very, very much, ruthlessly. And in this attack on this Nigeria interest, it is to stop and curb the supply of weapons that they are using to attack Biafrans, attack our villages, and kill our people. So the only way to stop them is by attacking their interests, attacking those interests that are bringing the resources that they are using to buy those weapons, those their flying jets and all that. So that's what we are going to, embark in 2024. And of course, as that is happening, we are also will be demanding the release of our political prisoners, not just Nnamdi Kanu. There are many people that are being detained. Some of them, nobody knows their whereabouts. So we have record of all those people that are missing from our land. So we're going to be using that particular measure and policy to demand the release, because the court of Nigeria can never, uphold the rule of law. So we know that particular issue very, very well. And then also, everyone should understand that as this is going on and happening, our Ambazonia Biafra Alliance will also see how this particular mechanism we will collaborate it to make sure that it also safeguard those people that are already in Biafra territory seeking refuge. It is going to be for their interest as well, and also it will prevent further kidnapping from Nigeria of Ambazonia activists. And that once we succeed in this, it means that the kidnapping of Ambazonians from Nigeria in Biafra territory has been halted. And that's our target, to halt this kidnapping that are happening on daily basis. So you can come to Biafra territory and, at your own time, at your own pace, and have peace. And you can go back whenever you want. That is from the Ambazonia side. So this will only be possible when we neutralize all the Nigeria terrorist forces in our land. And that is our target in 2024. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mr. PM. We'll move to the next item. I think you have thrown some light on this particular issue. When we design our strategy for liberation, we took cognizance of the fact that occupation is predicated on economic exploitation, and that occupiers don't really want to deal with deserts. And so we instituted a strategy which you have just outlined with respect to Biafra to undermine the economic interests of the enemy in our own territory. And we have been very successful, despite the fact that the Amazonian spoilers have always attempted to undermine progress that we make. And so today we are announcing the Ambazonia Biafra Economic Council. This council is very critical because the council will be able to make an assessment of both the human and natural potentials of both nations, and to be able to notify all those countries. And I know Biafra has already started in this light, and we have discussed also on issues of telecommunication, which are being used as spy instruments on both Biafrans and Nigeria and Ambazonians. This Economic Council will quantify our potentials so that we can begin to develop long-term policies. We will also be notifying all those companies that are exploring and exploiting resources in both nations, and to make sure they understand that the contracts they have with both Nigeria and Cameroon are invalid, and they can begin discussions with the Ambazonia Biafra Economic Council on ensuring that their activities work in line with our liberation laws. So today we are glad to announce the Ambazonia Biafra Economic Council. I will pass it over to you so you can announce the next council we're also talking about the Economic Council.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency there. Yes, like you rightfully said, it is the time. I think 2024 program will really break the camel's back. Like you rightfully said, Biafra, we already have started, the process of notifying the enemy and occupiers of, the coming of the Biafra government, and they either choose to acknowledge Biafra government, or they will not be allowed to exploit mineral resources from our land in 2024. 2024 is going to be a year where the paradigm is going to shift, and the Biafrans will be updated on that. And the Economic Council of the Biafra and Ambazonia is what we have discussed very much, and the impact it is going to make in our both nations. And the time is now, like we're announcing it this evening. And that's a very good development there. And the Biafra people must understand that this is for the best interest of our both nation. And then, of course, in the other hand, this evening, we want to inform the Biafrans and Ambazonians that we are also announcing the formation of Biafra International Relations Council. The Biafra International Relations Council will be a committee that will make sure that they take the Biafra Ambazonia issues to the highest diplomatic level. And this particular council is being officially announced today. With the process of the delegitimization of the both countries, of both government of Cameroon and Nigeria government within our territory, our both territory, Biafra territory and Ambazonia territory, this delegitimization requires also not just within our territory, but as well within the international community. And this international relation, council of the Ambazonia and Biafra will be in charge and take responsibility of this diplomatic war that is going to start immediately we finish the New Year celebration and enter 2024. So, Dr. Cho, you can go briefly to the military collaboration, and you're going to announce the next issue on the line. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot. Yes, as the PM has announced, the Joint International Relations Council is critical, since Biafra and Ambazonia seek to integrate within the international system. We will begin to undermine both Yaoundé and Abuja claiming to speak internationally for both Biafra and Ambazonia. We want to speak for ourselves. We want to represent our interests internationally, and this council will seek bilateral, multilateral relationships with different nations, peoples across the globe, so we are properly represented. And we are also announcing the commencement or entrenchment of the Ambazonia Biafra military alliance. As the Prime Minister has stated, the occupation is carried out using force. All attempts by both Biafra and Ambazonia to adjudicate their claim to their homeland through peaceful means have been undermined. Both Nigeria and Cameroon have responded with brute force, disproportionate violence, using helicopter gunships to massacre people, using even terrorists that they have integrated within their own forces to attack our people. For our own self-preservation, for our own existence, Biafra and Ambazonia are announcing today the military alliance to make sure that we can secure our borders, our interests, protect the lives of our people. These will be discussed detailedly by both defense chiefs. The micro aspect of these specific area will be worked out to ensure that it conforms with international standard and that it has a long-term approach. We will continue to eliminate threats to our security, to our interests, and to our people. And to both people, the only way we can assure our survival is for us to arm every Ambazonian, every Biafran on the face of the earth, so that we shall face no other threat now in the interim or in the future. Mr. Prime Minister, you can go forward and then you give your concluding remarks before we pass it over to the moderators.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Your Excellency Dr. Cho. And yes, the military collaboration of the Ambazonia is officially, kicking off today in a different dimension. And this will involve military exercise of both nations, both in our border and in our territory. So Biafrans and Ambazonians should be expecting some kind of military exercise, especially in our borders, and then other part of the Biafra and then Ambazonia, respectively, as the case may be. So in 2024, we are, trying to make sure that, we eliminate every threat against our people. We've seen women and children being killed by both, security terrorists in uniform, in military uniform, both from the Biafra side, from this Nigeria side, and from the Cameroon side. And this is what we don't want to see again or witness in 2024. So Biafra Biafra Liberation Army will collaborate with the Ambazonians forces, and we are going to have joint military exercise. And this, when this is happening, it is going to be, announced for the civilians to be aware that there is no cause for alarm. So we are also going to activate our air defense system in 2024. The air defense system of the Biafra will be activated. It is going to, take a new dimension in 2024, where we are going to be engaging the enemies, in a way they never ever expected. So 2024 is going to be an interesting year in the liberation phase of both nations. So yes, and my closing remark is that we all need your support. And those of you, the Biafrans in Ambazonia, you have to be loyal and only to one government. The government of the Ambazonia is the only government that is recognized by Biafra. And you have to be loyal to the government of Ambazonia and support by paying taxes, their liberation taxes, because they make that particular areas available for you. If something goes to Ambazonians in Biafra territory, our de facto government structure is on the way, and immediately we are done with our state structures, and the next phase is going to be the Biafra liberation tax. So if you are having businesses in Biafra land as an Ambazonia, you have to be loyal to only one government, which is the Biafra government and not Nigeria government. The same policy that we are going to impose on multinational corporations will be applicable to every local business person, every trader within Biafra territory until the declaration of independence. Thank you from here, Mr. President. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And we want to thank both moderators, Dr. Joy and the spokesman of the Ambazonian Governing Council. We pass over the microphone to you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Your Excellencies, for this excellent press briefing. I believe that in the future, together, we're going to build a future that will be very great for the indigenous people. I believe that this Ambazonian Biafran Alliance is only going to bring out the best potential for all Ambazonian and all Biafrans. So we want to thank you for your sacrifice. We want to thank you for your resilience and for doing this for our people. Now we also want to thank all our viewers. We want to thank you for joining this press briefing. We encourage all of you to share this information, listen to these policies, and be part of building this future, because it's a future that will be great for all of us and for all our children. So I want to give the mic back to my co-moderator. Thank you so much, and good evening. Moderator Lucas?
Thank you very much, the Prime Minister of the Biafran people. And thank you very much, the leader of the Ambazonian people, for this press briefing. Dr. Joe, it's such an honor to co-moderate this program with you tonight. For the Ambazonian and the Biafran people, this is the beginning of a new era. This is the beginning of a new journey. This is the beginning of building the momentum for the protection of the Ambazonian and the Biafran people, and for securing the freedom, the liberation, and the independence of our both people. We thank you so much for being part of this press briefing. Pass on the information, and I and Dr. Joy, we have so much more work that we'll be able to do together to serve both leaders and our people. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, citizens of Ambazonia and Biafra, the national anthem of Ambazonia.
Hail this land of glory, we the Ambazonia, nation loyalty, praises to our Savior who granted us the freedom, and legends to the hero who goes along with Biafra. Glory to glory, we rise and never to fall. Here in a nation, flowing with us and glory, 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 glory to the Father for making you a nation, a joy forevermore. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty in our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God be the watchman of this nation. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty in our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God be the watchman of this nation.
Ladies and gentlemen, citizens of Biafra and Ambazonia, the national anthem of the indigenous people of Biafra.